You got to get more listings, guys. Nothing to it but to do it. If your deal goal, how many families you want to help this year in 2024 is 20, for example, then you got to go and get 20 listings. No matter how you look at it, no matter what market it is, you will hit your goals. Some listings won't sell, but the listings that do sell attract other listings and other buyers. That's it. Who would like to role play? Any objections, any insights, any comments, any questions? Axel, good morning.
Good morning, John. How you doing? How are you?
Very good. Let's do it. Why don't we work on something? What's the conversation that we're coming across right now that we cannot handle? Let's work on it.
Yeah, just name it. Let's do it. Absolutely.
I do not upload these in Jose University, but I do send it to Aaron in a separate file. So I'm sure he's putting it somewhere. Kenneth? Sorry, Axel, I got distracted there. What did you say?
No worries. No worries.
Yeah, what did you say?
I didn't come up with any topics, so any topics we can just chat about.
All right, good. Well, who wants to role play? Let's practice. Come on.
Okay, hey, John, this is here from Calgary.
Oh, perfect.
Hey, John, I just had a quick question. It's not really, like, as you know, the market's really slow and the inventory is pretty low, right?
Yeah.
So how do you keep your clients engaged when they're, super pumped up about getting their property in a short amount of time, but there's nothing out there that they like, right? So how do you keep them engaged in this market?
That's a great question. And I want to know what you mean by how do you keep them engaged? Like, what does that look like in the sales process? I don't understand the engage part.
So many times, like when there's no inventory, like you're talking to them, but they're expecting you to send them properties which they might like and things like that. So at the end of the conversation, they sort of go back to, hey, did you get any new properties? But there's nothing out there which fits their criteria. So then we're kind of just in that limbo of conversations and not much action happening at that moment. So what do you do in those instances?
Yeah, great. This is a good problem to have, guys. It means the market is hot, okay? And once anything pops up, right, they're going to jump on it, which means you basically have a very motivated buyer. Am I correct on that?
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay, constant communication. Every single day, I'm going out there cold calling, door knocking, expire listings for sale by owners, online leads. What I'm doing every single day prospecting is two intentions. Number one, I'm looking for sellers for my buyers. So when I'm cold calling, door knocking, expire listings for sale by owners, online leads, I'm looking for listings for my buyers. So you can get back to them. Hey, Mr. and Mrs. Buyer, I made 100 calls today. I reached 20 people looking for listings for you. Do you have any questions for me today? Because you got no inventory for them right now, but they know that you're working for them. And for your sellers, you're calling them every single week. This week, I talked to 160 people looking for buyers for your home. Do you have any questions for me right now? Well, no, the home is not sold. What do you think we should do? Well, based on what the market is telling us, based on the buyers that have come through, then we have no offers. We need to adjust the price. Are you ready to go ahead and adjust the price to get the property sold? Does that make sense? Constant communication. Even when you have nothing to report, even when you have no inventory, even when you have no buyers coming through the door for your listing, you need to let them know, hey, there are no buyers through the door, but I talked to 160 people this week. Do you have any questions for me? Are you ready to adjust the price to get the property sold? And guys, you never want to get a call from your buyers or your sellers. If you have, that means you lost. That means you're not motivated enough. I never want to get a call from my clients. I know it's bad news when they call, right? Because you're not on top of things. Does that make sense? I didn't get your name.
Meet.
Yeah. Meet. Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks, Meet. Sorry, I couldn't see it. But yeah, so if that's what you have in mind, you need to communicate with your current clients all the time. This is what we don't talk about a lot, right? Because we want to reach out to new, fresh, cold, someone that we haven't talked to. But what we fail to do is we don't call our current clients. We take the listing and we basically let them sit. And we call them once a week. No. You gotta, some of these listings for the first 2 weeks, you gotta be calling them every single day, texting them every single day, WhatsApping them, emailing them every single day, communicating with them what you're doing to the property, right? And what you are seeing out there in the market, right? And this is how you get referrals, is that you communicate with your buyers and sellers every single day. With your buyers, for sure, you're communicating with them every single day. Hey, today we don't have any properties. Do you have any questions for me? Today I went out there and I door knocked, 100 doors and I got 20 people to answer. Unfortunately, I don't have any leads today. But if anything pops up, are you ready to go ahead and make an offer and purchase your property? Oh, yeah. I'm motivated. Yeah, great. Perfect. That's how you get people engaged. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that does, John. Thank you so much.
Constant communication, guys. That's just great customer service. That's how you get referrals, is from your current clients. A lot of times we get the client and we just let them sit, right? Okay. Any other questions, guys?
Hi, John. My name is Aqua. Thank you, first of all, for having me on your platform. I'm here in Chicago. Quick question. I was not able to, I set a listing appointment and the gentleman was, was going to meet. He agreed to meet with me. However, when I started to do the pre-qual, he wouldn't even let me get down the list. He asked me, was I like the FBI? And he asked me, did I work for the CIA? And I'm like, no. So he really felt uncomfortable with me asking the question. So I just decided not to go on the appointment because he would not allow me to get the information that I needed. I have no idea what this guy's intentions. It was an expired listing.
Yeah, this is great. And I would have to assume that when you're asking questions, you're not repeating and approving. So what happens, guys, when you don't the client says? What do you guys think? Any takers?
What was the question, John?
If you are not repeating and approving what the prospect is saying to you, what happens?
You're not listening.
Like an answer. Interrogation.
Yes, you are. Interrogation and you're not listening.
Yeah.
I love those answers. That's exactly why people feel interrogated. Are you an FBI? Are you from the CIA? Because you're asking me all these questions, trying to find out information. That means that you're not having a conversation, right? You're just asking questions. So let's practice that. Why don't you role play the prequal with me?
Okay.
Let's hear some repeat and approving in that so we can help you along with this type of conversation. Let's go.
Oh, okay, great. Okay, so John, since I have you on the phone, I just have a couple more vitally important questions to ask. Can I borrow you for another minute?
Sure, go ahead.
Okay, if what I say makes sense and all of the numbers line up and you feel absolutely comfortable and confident that I can get your home sold, were you planning to list with me when I see you today?
Well, I don't know. I don't even know who you are. So, we'll see. Maybe.
Okay, fair enough. All right. And were you planning on interviewing any other agents?
Yeah, well, two or three at least. We just came off the market, so be smart to do that.
Absolutely. Okay, so you are planning on interviewing other agents. And just curious, John, what qualities are you looking for in an agent that you work with?
What qualities? Okay, well, I mean, why does this matter? Sorry.
Just so I have an idea of what you expect from the next agent that you work with.
Oh, just so you haven't. Well, yeah. I mean, I want to get the property sold. I mean,
Absolutely. Okay.
More to that.
So it sounds like you want an aggressive agent. Okay, I got it. And just to confirm, just to confirm that you are moving to Florida.
Correct. Yeah.
And you wanted to be there as soon as possible for a job, correct?
That's right.
Okay. Now, when I see that you have it listed for 900,000, and just, as a professional, I'm sorry, how much did you want to list for? I see that you have it listed for 900.
Well, I mean, I certainly, if we can get 900, that'd be great. Yeah.
Okay. All right. 900. I'm just taking notes here. And just so you know, John, as a professional real estate agent, I do study homes and prices every day. So I'll assume that you'll list at a price that will cause the home to sell, correct?
Yeah, but I don't want to give it away.
Absolutely. It's for sale, not on sale, right? Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah.
All right. So what price won't you go below?
No, I'm not about to give my bottom line away, but I mean, if you can get me 900, that'd be great. Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. And just so I can prepare a preliminary net sheet, how much do you owe on the property?
We owe about 300.
300. Awesome. Great job, John. So have you ever thought about selling the property yourself?
I have not.
No? Okay, well, that's why I'm here. I'll just to take that burden off your plate. Also just curious, do you want to, are you willing to finance the buyer, or do you want all of your cash out?
I would like to have all my cash out to go to Florida. Yeah.
Perfect. Okay, all of your cash out. Okay, and briefly, could you just describe the home for me? I'm looking at the pictures. It looks lovely. Is there anything in addition to the pictures that I need to know about that you've done?
No, I mean, just what you see. We got a 4-bed, 2-bath, renovated in 1990, and
Okay.
it's a great home.
It looks like a lovely home. Thank you for that. Okay, so I'll be sending over a package of information. Will you do me a favor and just take a moment to review it?
Sure. What's in it?
Oh, okay, great question. So it'll include the comparative market analysis, just the list of properties that have recently sold in your area, and also my marketing plan of action, and I'll include the net sheet as well.
Yeah, sounds good. That's
Okay.
good info.
So just do you have any questions before I come?
What's your commission?
Oh, commission, that's a great question. And the commission I can just tell you this. We can speak about it the first thing when I see you. And, just so you know, the commission will not be a reason why we don't do business together. Fair enough?
Yeah, that's fair. But what do you charge?
Okay, well, I charge 3.5%, and we use that as a marketing tool just to get the property sold. And the other portion is what you'll pay the buyer's agent. Now, you can decide what you want to pay the buyer's agent starting at 2%, but most sellers will pay 2.5%, just as an incentive to get the agent to work really hard at finding a qualified buyer. So
okay.
Yeah,
it's quite high. I mean, you charge 3.5% on your end. That's but yeah, I'll keep that in mind. Thank you.
Great. That's all I ask. Okay, and just so you know that the meeting should take between 20 and 30 minutes. Is that okay?
Yeah, that's fair.
All right, perfect. And will all of the decision makers be there?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. All right. Well, I look forward to seeing you, John, tomorrow at 4:00.
Okay, great. That was good. I mean, like, I don't know. I mean, unless you weren't doing that on that call, I don't see why he would be like, hey, you know what, are you CIA or the FBI? A very friendly voice. I can't see your face, but I felt like that was great. Besides a few upswings when you're asking questions that made you sound a little bit unsure. Other than that, I felt like it was good. I wasn't too hard on you. Again, this is not a high rejection conversation either. You've already got the appointment. But yeah, I know Aaron just came in, but Jose, so I'm sorry. How do you pronounce your name?
It's Aqua Tenise, but I go by Aqua.
Aqua Tenise. Wow, that's a very beautiful name. Aqua.
Thank
All
you.
right. Jose, what do you think when people are asked or are saying, "Hey, are you the FBI? Are you the CIA?" during a prequel? What do you think the person's doing wrong, or what should they be doing instead? You're muted, by the way.
Yeah, I think that if they tell me like, "Are you the FBI or the CIA?" they're probably saying that like, "Why are you asking me all these questions?" Basically,
That's exactly right. That's what he asked me, Jose.
yeah. So I think that has to do with making you can ask questions, but giving them like the reasons why you're asking certain questions. And also like repeating and approving and making the client feel comfortable. So I'll give you an example. Like there's this agent on my team who I told her that sometimes when you know where somebody lives, you can, and they're looking to buy something else, you can tell a lot about what they want to buy. Sorry. You could tell a lot about what they want to buy by asking them where they live. So there's a difference. So like, let me ask you this, John. Like if I were just to tell you, "Hey, John, where do you live?" Or versus if I were to tell you, "Hey, John, hey, John, so in order for me to help you find a home, sometimes I notice patterns, different patterns in people's buying patterns, and knowing where someone lives often helps me identify what potential neighborhoods would be a good potential match. Would you mind me asking, where you live?"
Yeah, so you set it up really well instead of just saying, "Hey, where do you live?"
So I think a lot of it, so if you notice, for me, this would happen. Like in the prequel, I would ask questions a certain way and I would get the same responses, and those same responses wouldn't be that pleasant. Like I'll give you an example of that. Like whenever Tanisha, whenever Aqua, what did you ask? It was something along the lines like, I can't remember what it was, but I'll tell you where I would get them. So whenever I would ask people, like, "How much do you owe on the property?" People would always be like, "Well, why do you want to know how much I owe on the property?" So instead of asking, "How much do you owe on the property?" I would preface it a little bit. So I would say, "Well, the next thing I'm going to do for you is I'm going to prepare what I call a seller net sheet for you. This is going to let you know like net bottom line what you can expect to receive at closing after any escrow, title, or any realtor fees. Is there still a balance on the property, or is the property like paid off free and clear?" And when I phrase it that way, I stop getting the "why do you want to know?" Which the "why do you want to know" is almost like hey, almost like they're confused as to it. So the least times you can do that, the more comfortable the client's going to feel. So I would say that the script like question by question. It's just a matter of like taking it to the next level. So if you're okay, John, I like to do the prequel just so that she can kind of compare and then like challenge her to be like, okay, there's another level above this in asking the prequel, basically.
Sure. Aqua, do you want to be the client so you can kind of feel this conversation?
Sure.
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay.
Hey, Aqua. So before we get together, I just have a couple of really quick questions I need to ask you. I'm going to be doing a little bit of homework on the property. I want to make sure that I'm fully prepared. Is it okay if I ask them now?
Oh, sure.
Got it. So the first question that I had, and it's just you might have already covered this with me. Remind me again, like where is it that you're moving to?
Oh, I'm moving to Florida.
Got it. Good for you. How do you feel about the move to Florida? Excited, nervous?
Yes, very excited. Can't wait to get there.
I love it. Congratulations on that. Good. And then just obviously for me to kind of prepare best, are you going to be selling here and buying in Florida? Or just have to focus on selling here and then you work about the whole Florida thing in the future?
I'm sorry, Jose, you were breaking up a little bit. What was the question?
Oh, I'm so sorry about that. What I was asking is, are we just focused on selling this property, or are you going to be selling and buying in Florida at the same time? Meaning, like, is this going to be like a contingent sale?
Oh, no. I just need to sell this one.
Got it. Okay. So you've already got the Florida part taken care of. There's no need for us to focus on that one.
Correct.
Fantastic. Okay, good. And then I know that this is important for a lot of people. I know that timing is very important. Like, what's an ideal time frame for one, having the home on the market, and then two, having it sold?
Well, it needs to be sold.
Okay. So the sooner the better, if I'm hearing
Yes.
you.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay. Made a note of that. Fantastic. Now, when I see you, how much were you thinking about listing the home for?
Well, I really would like to get close to my original asking price.
Okay. So I see that you say your original asking price, like 700,000.
Yes.
Okay, that makes sense. Got it. So I'm going to transition a little bit. If it's an expired, I'll ask some additional questions. I'll be like, okay, and because that's what it sounds like you're kind of leading it in, right, Aqua?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay, good. So, and just out of curiosity, like during the last time that you had it on the market, did you have anybody make you any offers in writing, or at least any talks of any offers?
No.
Got it. So no offers during the time that it was on the market, and no talks of offers on it at that point.
No.
Got it. Okay. So I made a note of that. Now, the next thing I'm going to do for you is I'm going to prepare what I call a seller net sheet for you. This is going to let you know, like, net bottom line, what you can expect to receive at closing. Is there still a balance on this property, or is the property already like paid off, like free and clear?
I owe about
200,000 basically. Got it. Okay. And then I actually forgot to ask this. Let's say that somebody came in like with a cash offer, like close of escrow, like 14 days, no contingencies as is. But let's say that they offered you 650,000. How would you respond to that?
What, cash?
Yeah, cash, close of escrow, 14 days, like no contingencies, strictly as is.
Okay. Yeah, I would definitely consider it. Yes.
Okay. So you would consider that, basically, in other words.
Yes.
Fantastic. Okay. So you've never thought about like selling the property yourself, right? Like some sort of for sale by owner type of situation. At least that's what it sounds like.
No, I wouldn't know what to do.
Got it. And you probably don't want to finance anything for the buyer, right? You don't want to be like a bank. You want to take the money here and move it to Florida, correct?
Yes, absolutely. I need all of my cash.
Got it. Okay. So would you describe your home to me, like meaning like any upgrades in the bathroom, the kitchen, or if it's an expired, I wouldn't ask it this way. I would ask it in a way that it says, hey, well, I took a look at the pictures online. Has anything changed to the property? Like meaning like any upgrades since the last time that it was listed for sale?
Mm-hmm. Oh, and since you mentioned it, I did put in new windows.
Okay.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So
Anything else?
That's pretty much it. The new windows.
Fantastic. Anything else?
You know what? I did have the hardwood floors restained.
Okay.
Or refinished. Yeah. And that's about it.
Okay. That makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Got it. So the next thing I'm going to do for you is I'm going to prepare what I call a seller or a marketing package of information. In this marketing package, I'm going to include the most recent comps. I'm going to include a copy of our marketing plan of action. And I'm also going to include a link to our online reviews. We have over 265 five-star reviews. I'm going to send that to you via email. If I send it to you today by 5, will you take a few moments and review it?
Sure.
Great. And then what's a good email for me to do so?
aqua@gmail.com.
Fantastic. And then do you have any questions for me before we meet?
What is your fee?
That's a really good question. So I don't know if I've mentioned this to you in the past, but my fee is actually flexible. In other words, meaning I don't have like a set fee that I charge. I usually try to be flexible just depending on whatever my client's needs are. Is there like a certain fee structure that you're looking for to try to see if maybe I can accommodate to that?
Well, I know the last agent that I worked with, they charged 4.5.
Got it. Okay, so you've got that in mind, basically, that the last agent was charging you 4.5. And obviously, it sounds like that's important to you. So here's what I've done. I've made a note of that. What I would propose is let's get together. I'll share with you what I can sell it for. I'll share with you what you would net and what I would do to market the home. And then I promise you after that, if you actually like the way that we work, commission won't be the reason we don't do business. Is that okay with you?
Yes, that's perfect.
Fantastic. Okay. So the last question that I had for you is, my intention is to do a really good job for you. Obviously, my intention is to help you get the property sold, provide a high level of customer service. Like, what qualities are you looking for ultimately this time around in the real estate agent that you end up selecting?
Well, obviously somebody who could get the property sold, and somebody who will keep me in the loop, keep me updated on what's going on.
Okay. So in other words, you're looking for really good communication, and then you're looking for results. Bottom line, like, hey, look, like, I don't want to have my home on the market again and not sell, basically.
Absolutely.
Fantastic. Now, provided that when we meet tomorrow, you feel comfortable, obviously you feel confident, but most importantly, you're like, man, this guy's the result guy. He's going to get my property sold no matter what. And based on everything I could see and read, his communication's on point. Are you open, obviously, if all that comes to fruition, to the opportunity of hiring me when we meet tomorrow at 5:30?
Yeah, I would be open to it. Obviously, I want to hear what you have to say.
Okay, fantastic. Well, Akko, I am really excited. I'm excited about the opportunity to meet with you. I'm excited about helping you and your family get one step closer to Florida. Won't that be great?
Yes. Yeah. You're brilliant, Jose. You guys are brilliant. Oh my God. I need to take you all with me.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
I remembered, Aqua, what it was about the pre-listing package. So like one of the times I would always get like, well, what's in the package? It's like, well, what's in the package? So I was like, why don't I just fucking tell them up front what's in the package to eliminate that question? So like there's somebody out there that says, the better the presentation, the less objections you get. Meaning like sometimes you can actually incorporate certain objections into the presentation and it eliminates them, and it actually makes it a better presentation, basically.
Okay. That makes sense.
And then here's another thing. Here's another mistake that I noticed. So I noticed that people, and obviously I didn't know that this was an expired at the beginning, but like if people like are an expired, I won't say how much do you want to list the home for this time, or I may say, hey, look, obviously you had it on the market last time for 800. How much do you want to list the home for this time around?
Got it.
But I'll accommodate based on the situation. Meaning, like, if it's an expired, I won't ask them like, hey, would you describe the home for me? I'll say, hey, look, obviously I looked at the pictures the last time it was online. Just out of curiosity, have you done any changes or modifications since the last time it was listed, basically? And the reason I do that is I would get that knee-jerk reaction, like almost like, you don't understand me. Like, hey, didn't you take a look at the pictures? they would tell me like the pictures are online. So I would almost in my presentation like handle it before I even got it. Does that make sense? Or even like if they tell me, well, I want to list it at the same price, I'll ask them this, and this is one of my favorite questions about pricing. I'll ask them, hey, the last time that you were listed, did you have any offers on the property? And like, let's say that they tell me, yeah, we were listed at 800, and the first day that I came on the market, I actually had an offer at 780, and then they walked. I'm like, I have a piece of information already, you know, and or they might say, yeah, you know, at some point I had an offer that was like 750. Had I known what I know now, I probably should have taken it. I'm like, boom, I've collected this piece of information now that will serve me, because now I know, like, hey, look, like they had an offer at 750 at some point. Like maybe maybe that's where the market is at. Maybe that's where we need to be at price wise. Obviously, I'll still do the CMA, but I'm just collecting information basically.
Wow. Thank you so much. You're brilliant. John, Aaron, you guys, thank you.
Hey, he's all right. Don't do that to him. His head's already
No, I'm serious. It's like those words makes like 100%. The way you word it, it's like brilliant.
Well, here's what I'm aware of. So there's stages to this, you know, like tiramisu, there's levels and stages and different layers. Right. So the first layer is first you have to learn the questions. And guys, that's elementary school. Don't pat yourself on the back because you know the questions. That's like learning the fucking alphabet. And then be like, oh, I'm not getting the result. My God, I'm so cool. I learned the alphabet. I'm like, dude, it's fucking ridiculous. Like school to the game. Okay. The second thing is once I've learned the questions, now I have to learn how to ask them in a way that doesn't produce the response that you're getting. Because the reason why people are like, hey, you know, like, why do you want to know that? Is because you're asking them in a very staccato manner, like bang, 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 bang. So if I was to like bump into Lena and be like, yo, where'd you go to school? Why'd you pick that sweater? Why did you cut your hair like that? Da-da-da. She'd be like, bro, what the fuck are you doing? Right? That's exactly what would happen. Where instead, if I can learn to couch questions and present them in such a way where you answering them is beneficial to you, not me. So like, in other words, like, hey, you know, before we connect, I just have a couple super quick questions to ask you just to make sure that I'm fully prepared and I can do a great job for you and your family and provide you with the information that you guys need. And I'll be brief because I know your time is valuable. Who is that about? Them. They're like, oh, okay, it's about me. Let's say they say to you like, well, why do you want to know that? Well, you know, I appreciate you asking. And I want to be clear. My intention in asking is not to be nosy. It's really not. Instead, the more information that you're willing to share, the better equipped I am to provide you with guidance that could be helpful or useful in some way. And the reason I'm asking is that oftentimes, you know, when families are making decisions about where they're going to go to next, their net proceeds is actually critically important to that process. And it could be the difference between moving and not moving. So in order to provide you that information properly and professionally, I just need a roundabout. Like, do you owe like 100? Do you owe like 250? So do you see how I asked that question? It's couched in what is best for you. And underneath it, guys, imagine going to the doctor and they were like, so what's bothering you, Salima? And you're like, guess. It's ridiculous, stupid and dumb, right? So you have to have that understanding underneath that you asking questions is not being nosy. It's actually being a skilled professional, right? And I need to know all the dynamics of the situation. So what happens is that, you know, what I see people do is they're trying to sell everybody on something. I don't sell anybody on anything. I just ask a bunch of questions to find out if they have a need that I can service. And once I hear that they have a need that I can service, then I present them with options so they can decide which option is in their best interest. That's it, right? So by asking these questions in a way that people are receptive to, you will gather more information. And as you gather more information, you can determine A, if this person's motivation is an 8, 9, or a 10, and it makes sense to connect with them, or if it's a 5, 6, or 7. So as you're asking questions, let's say you're like, hey, you know, you strike me to be someone. So you could ask like, hey, I study homes and prices every day. Therefore, I'll assume it was a median price goes no. So what price won't you go below? Can you imagine if you were selling something, Jake, like a car, and somebody walked right up to you and say, hey, bro, immediately, what would you think in your head? This person's trying to steal it. Is that a fact? But you guys all ask that question. You wonder why people get defensive. Imagine if I was like, Jerry, why'd you wear that shirt, bro, on this Zoom call? Specifically, what caused you to believe that that was a good idea? What is he going to do naturally? Push back and resist.
Get defensive.
And get defensive. So instead, it's like, look, Jerry, you strike me to be someone who's pretty savvy. I'm sure you've gone online and seen some of these sites that give estimates of value. So did you have an idea at all of realistically what you were thinking in terms of price? I'm curious, am I asking the same question just in a different way that's more palatable and increases the chances that you'll actually answer it? Yes. You see what I'm saying? So,
and I think that's the key, Aaron. I think it's having multiple ways of asking different questions in a way where it's about the consumer. Elementary school is, where did you move to next? Graduate or doctorate school is having like 5, 6 different ways of asking for the motivation in case one of them don't work out.
Yeah, and like I was thinking when you were answering that question, you're like, I noticed patterns with homeowners. You know what's pretty wild is they usually buy a home pretty similar to the one that they currently live in, maybe with some different features and amenities. So what I'm aware of, what's up, little team? So what I'm aware of is that if you'd be open to sharing with me where you guys currently are, that would actually allow me to be able to find you your next home in an efficient and easy manner. So do you guys live locally here? Are you like, in Camarillo? Are you in Ventura? And then just be quiet. So again, I'm couching it in a way that's good for them to answer it. Do you see what I'm saying? And the purpose of prequal is not to disqualify. Like the purpose of prequal is to gather information. I think that like oftentimes the way that people have been trained to prequal, it's like, yo, you need to convince me that, like you're worth my time to come see you. It's like, come on, bro. Like instead, it's like, hey, I'm going to ask you some questions simply just to find out ultimately what your goals and objectives are. And my intention in doing it is not to be nosy. It's just to gather as much information as possible so I could do a great job for you and your family. I will be brief because I know your time is valuable. Right? Like who's going to say no to that?
Love it.
Right? And if they are like, there's a certain portion of the population who, no matter how nicely and how kind of professionally and how skillfully you ask questions, don't want to share any information. And let me ask you a question. If they're going to be a pain in the ass at the beginning, are they going to be a pain in the ass the whole time? Anybody who's done any amount of transactions, you see the heads nodding? They're all like, yup. And, when you generate, you don't have to tolerate, team. I don't have to tolerate. Like, I don't got to fucking deal with you, like, thinking you're sad. How'd you get my phone number? I'm like, are you the president of the United States? Like, last time I checked, you're just like a normal fucking dude. But you could say it this way, like, hey, for better or for worse, the information about your home coming off the market, it's actually public information. So I have an assistant who gathers that information for me because we have the good fortune of helping a lot of families. Like if they hired an agent and they didn't sell, we end up connecting with them and ultimately helping them accomplish their goals and objectives. I'll be sure to take it off my list. While I have you on the phone, though, your home's lovely. It's in a great geographic area, great schools. I mean, I don't need to tell you that. When you had originally put it on the market, what do you think stopped it from selling? Or when you originally put on the market, was there any particular reason you were even considering selling? You see what I'm saying? That's going to increase the probability that you're going to want to speak to me.
Do you guys have any more questions? Something else you guys want to role play? We got 15 minutes, I think.
The actual listing presentation, I mean, I'm not like really, I don't have any script in front of me, but it's kind of like in the front of my mind, just the actual like person to person presentation. And if I like to speak about that.
Sure. Let's do it.
All right. So can I be the seller?
Yeah.
All right. Maybe next time I'll be better prepared to be the agent.
What did you want to, or what question did you have, or what did you want to work on that?
I just want to get it down packed. I just want to, dive in.
How do you typically start it? Just out of curiosity.
I, come prepared with all of my, my stuff, make my way to the kitchen table straight away, so long as it's not a hoarder house. Claim my chair, try to, predict where the wife is going to sit, where the husband is going to sit. Ask for kind of like the Mike Ferry script, can you show me around the house? Okay, got my yellow notepad. I'm taking notes. They can see I'm paying attention. I'm giving them the undivided attention. Keep it short, minimize the small talk, make my way to the kitchen table, open up my laptop, and let's see, just get into it from, sorry, excuse me. And then, let me see, I don't have my script in front of me, but yeah, I usually keep a really short bullet point to follow just in case if I get off track.
Yeah, but how do you start? What do you, after all of that, what are you saying at the beginning?
I can't remember right now.
That's amazing to me. First of all, that's like asking a doctor, like, where do you start? And you're like, I don't know, I can't remember.
Can I ask a question about that?
Well,
I'm out. Like, before we move on from this, I want everybody on this call to realize, like, okay, you have a choice that you have to make. Everybody does. Mm-hmm. I have a choice to either be good or to be great. Yep. Mm-hmm. Sit still, take it right down the pipe. Good is like, yeah, like I fucking do this, and then like, oh, where are my notes? And like, da-da-da, that's good. Do you know what great is? Great is I could wake you up in the middle of the fucking night at 2:00 in the morning and be like, go. And you're like, hi, thanks so much for having me over today. First and foremost, I just want to begin our time together just by saying thank you for providing me the opportunity to share some information with you, potentially help you with the sale. I always like to begin these conversations simply by asking a few quick questions just to make sure we're on the same page. This is something, Jerry, if you want to list property in high volume, if you are going against somebody who has it down like that, you will lose every single time. I want to be the type of team that nobody wants to play. Nobody. Because they know we are well prepared, we are disciplined, we are consistent. We are going to impose our will, and you're just going to have to stop us. And if you don't, we're going to run right over you. But I have to take that level of commitment with my skill set. Guys, doctors have stethoscopes, they have syringes, like those are their tools. You know what our tool is? This. Imagine like a carpenter came to your house and they're like, hey, can you tell me how to use this hammer? Like, I'm not exactly sure. Like, what? Like, hey, yeah, there's this screwdriver and like, I got to read the manual on how to do it. What?
Yeah.
You got the message?
Got the message. Loud and clear.
So I think it comes down, Jerry, to just the fundamentals and becoming obsessed with the practicing of it, basically. Just becoming obsessed with it, like the 2 to 3 times a day, daily, 6 days a week. So I was actually going to present that at my presentation, and I did the numbers. The difference between 1 time a day, 5 days a week, and 3 times a day, 6 times a week. In 3 years, you practice more than you would in 10 years with a 1 time a day, 5 days a week. In 3 years, you've already practiced 10 years worth, what somebody would practice 10 years with that, basically. So it just becomes very simple math, meaning like, hey, look, like if I want to learn this or master this, the more times I practice it, the more I learn it. Now, as it relates to the presentation, Aaron and I started in different ways, I think it's just a matter of finding the way that you feel comfortable with and then going with that. Aaron will start it with hey, there's 3 important questions, and I'll start sometimes with a little bit of marketing, or I'll start sometimes with just jumping into the CMA. I'll be very transparent with you. I think that there's a lot of stuff going on in your head based on what I can hear. You're like, and sometimes like understanding that there's another human on the other side can be helpful. You're like, hey, I try to limit the small talk. I go straight to the kitchen. I basically I try to anticipate where the wife is going to sit. It's too rigid, too complex, instead of like just showing up and being like, how you doing? you mind if I take a tour of your property? And then having them take a tour. And then for me, if they happen to talk a little bit extra, I'm okay with that because I want to make them feel comfortable. They're paying me in California. They're paying me $20,000-$30,000 to sell a property. I'm okay if they deviate a little bit and they talk a little bit more because then they feel understood. Then we walk over. Like I've even had it, bro, where like initially we walk in and they're like, "Hey, do you mind sitting down in the couch?" We sit down in the couch, but we do a little bit of small talk. And before we start the presentation, I'm like, "Okay, great. Do you guys mind if I take a quick tour around the property?" But we did a little bit of small talk at the very beginning, and I'm okay with that, just because, like, I know once it actually becomes game on, I know the direction that I'm going to take it in, basically, you know? So what I would say is, or let me ask it this way. How many times, like, are you practicing a day the listing presentation?
I'm practicing the phone call scripts mostly, but not much on the listing presentation now.
And then what are you practicing on the phone call scripts mostly?
Aaron, you're silent.
Oh, I said, which is evident. You see what I'm saying?
So what script are you practicing on the phone call conversations?
My distressed script.
Okay. So here's what I believe, Jerry. I personally believe that all of the scripts are connected to each other. I believe that you only practice one script. As soon as somebody says something that's off that script, you're going to be completely lost and you're not going to know what to go by. So what I believe is I would and I practice, like, I had a stack of like 200 fucking papers, bro. And I would literally go to the 200 papers and I would chant out the different scripts because I knew that if it was calling an expired, somebody might say, "Oh, you know what? I'm going to go for sale by owner." And then I had to switch to a for sale by owner script. And it's almost like if I didn't understand that, then I wouldn't be able to transition effectively. I knew that if somebody was, I was talking to somebody on the phone, somebody might be like, "Well, how much is my home worth?" And I may have to somewhat jump into a little bit of a CMA presentation at the listing presentation over the phone, if just to give them a rough ballpark. So my philosophy is that if you only practice one, as soon as somebody says something that's off the script, and they all work, like the for sale by owner script says, or the expirer says, "Are you familiar with the techniques that I use to sell homes?" That might be a close for a different situation. One of them says, they say different things. So I think that they're all connected. And I think that, and this would happen to me, when I would role play with people, I would role play things that I felt comfortable with. So I got to the point where I would role play expireds every single day and people would be like, "Damn, you're good." But then they'd be like, "How much production do you do?" And I'd be like, "Oh, I do like 20 deals a year." They'd be like, "Why are you so good at expireds, but you only take 20 listings a year?" And the reason is my ego would not allow me to work on my weaknesses. Therefore, like, I would try to practice what I was most comfortable with instead of practicing my weakness. So we just exposed that the listing presentation is a big weakness right now. So I would encourage to practice that, not until you get it right, but until you can't get it wrong, meaning until you start feeling more comfortable. And guess what? If you get really good at your listing presentation, it's going to get you a lot more confidence to go after people more aggressively. Once I got good, before I got good at my listing presentation, I wasn't as aggressive as setting appointments. Once I got good at my listing presentation, I got extremely aggressive because I knew that if I can get in front of them, I was going to get paid. And there was a very good chance of getting that contract.
Yeah, it's spot on. Because people unconsciously actually hold themselves back from being more aggressive with setting appointments because they're not confident, which really means they don't trust themselves with the listing presentation.
100%.
Thank you, guys.
That would happen to me, Jerry, all the time. So
hey, Jerry's like, "Hey, I'm done, bro. That's enough for today."
Hey,
did you see that? As we're talking, he's like, "Thanks, guys. Thanks. All right, bye." Gotta go.
Here's the other thing I would say, Jared. Practice it in sections, bro. So there's a couple different sections. There's the intro section of the presentation. There's the CMA portion of the presentation. And then there's the closing portion of the presentation. Break it down to different sections as you're practicing, basically. So master the, like, hey, look, and then roll with the punches sometimes, bro. My first mentor literally walked into a presentation, did not say a word about real estate, just talked to her about her cat and dog, got to know them, and he took the listing. And when I saw that, I was like gung-ho Mike Ferry. And he took me on that presentation. I was like, what the fuck just happened? I was like, and then that made me realize, I'm like, it's not all gung-ho like Mike Ferry. It's about being adaptable,
Yeah.
Yeah, and what I would propose is you still want to follow like a track, because I think people would hear that, Jose, and sometimes they might be like, oh, So like there's two separate skills. There's intellectual intelligence and emotional intelligence. Intellectual intelligence is knowing what to say and how to say it. Emotional intelligence is where the kind of what to say is ingrained in me, so I don't have to think about it anymore. If you've ever heard of that saying, discipline creates freedom, it's true. So me being disciplined with learning the script, when Jose came to me, he was doing like, let's say 20 deals. And he asked me, what do I have to do to be as skilled? And I'm like, look, you got to role play twice a day, 6 days a week. And you got to chant scripts and do all that. He's just one of the only people that ever did it. So that gets you to a place where there's nothing you could say to me that I'm not prepared for. I mean, imagine the trust that you have in yourself, that there's nothing anybody can say to you in a real estate conversation that you wouldn't be prepared for. Now, then and only then can I start to pay attention to your tonality. Can I start to pay attention to your kind of, are you wincing when we're talking about the price? Are you crossing your arms? Like, is the husband glancing at the wife or vice versa? Like now and then and only then can I start to pay attention to those things. So there's stages, but I need everybody on this call to recognize, like, you have to get yourself to a place where you are fucking sick and tired of not knowing what to say. Like, you have to hate it. And hate is a strong word, but you have to hate it. I am tired of telling this fucking story. I'm tired of saying I'm going to start, this year's the year. No, me. Yay. Like, you got to get to a point where you're like, bro, am I an amateur or a pro? Like, that's the decision you have to make. And it doesn't take that long. If you follow this prescription that we're talking about, twice a day, 6 days a week, I promise you in a year, your skills will be infinitely better. Your level of confidence would be infinitely better. Right?
So just to share, right now what I'm practicing is the Mike Ferry 1 minute presentation. Do you suggest anything other?
Yes.
What would that be?
You're on a call with somebody who sold 2,000 homes in their career and 80% of them were listings sold. That is precisely 15 years longer than someone else.
No, but
so what I would suggest.
Can I have your script?
No, but again, you're thinking in your mind, and I love you, Jerry. You're analytical by nature. You're trying to do like A plus B equals C. Fucking stop it. Just practice more. Period. Like, run through the whole script. Not like, well, I'm working on the 1 minute. No, do the whole thing. You know what that's like? I'm going to the gym and I lift weights once and I leave. Is there anything else I should be focused on? Like, yes, bro. More effort, more time. Like, you have to, like if you said to me, hey, bro, I am writing out the whole listing presentation by hand. I did that every day for 90 days straight. Every fucking day for 90 days straight. Like,
that's what I'm saying.
Listen, but Jerry, is your level of effort in alignment with what your goals are?
I'm going to step up. I'm stepping it up right now. Just
good. But listen to
taking
me
this beat down.
Listen, I read a quote that said, you'll realize when you're 25, the coach that pushed you the most loved you the most.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying to you is not coming from me being a jerk. What I'm saying to you is you have to make a decision if this is acceptable to me. If, like, you have to set a standard and step into it. Like, is it acceptable for me to, like, not know what to say on appointments? Is it acceptable for me that, like, where somebody can give me an objection and I have to go back to my family members and be like, hey, we can't do that because I didn't know what to say. They told me they want to think about it, and I walked out with my tail between my legs, so we can't take that trip to Disney. That's what this is, guys. That's the level of urgency that it requires. And in a marketplace where, God, I want you to realize something, okay? The last time we had this level of transactions, we had 719,000 agents. There's 1.5 million agents. Half. It's 2 deals for every agent in the United States. Do you know why? Because they don't go pro. Make a decision. Are you going to be a pro at this or an amateur? Pro. Amateurs can make $100,000. You know what pros make? $1 million a year, bro.
Jerry, you're an elite builder, right?
Yes.
You have access to Aaron's scripts. I think that's what he's saying. He's like, you have access to Aaron's scripts. You have access to my scripts as well, too. Start chanting all of them, including the Mike Ferry. And then what's going to happen, this is what happens to me, is that once you start chanting them, you're going to be in a situation, and then all of a sudden, the right words are going to come out. And you're going to be like, where the fuck did that come from? Like, why did I say that? But the reason is that you're chanting the scripts, basically.
Yeah, and I'm also aware, Jerry, you have access to the roleplay group. Are you in the roleplay group?
No.
Why?
I'm in this one only.
Why? What are you doing at 7:30 in the morning? Oh, did you notice the lack of response from Mr. Jerry? What are you doing at 11:30 in the afternoon? Exactly.
Miscellaneous.
Exactly. Miscellaneous, which is code word for fucking nonsense.
Well, I'll tell you guys this thing too. Like, we could lead to like a cycle of burnout if we just prospect, go on appointments, and then have a very low conversion rate, and we don't practice, basically. I'll tell you guys this. Like, earlier on in my career, where I felt the lowest conversion was any period of time where I stopped practicing, basically. And as soon as I felt it, I was like, this is not acceptable to me. Like, I need to practice. And I would fucking fill up my schedule again with practice.
Yeah, so
and then I just remained very consistent with it, basically. But the problem is that if you guys don't take this practice thing seriously, like a professional, you guys are going to run into this cycle where just you're prospecting and you're having to talk to 300-400 people to generate one listing instead of like 50-60 people to generate one listing, because you think that that you need to be prospecting and not practicing. And practicing is equally, like, think about this. If practice wasn't important, Jerry, how much do football players practice before they play on a Sunday night game?
80 hours.
Oh.
100 hours.
For a 3-hour game, bro.
It's actually 60 minutes. It's 3 hours because of the commercials, bro. You know what I'm saying? So, like, Jerry, I wanted, like, this is the teachable moment for you and everybody on the call. So you were asking about, hey, like, is there anything else I could be doing? And I'm doing the 1 minute. Yeah, you know what you could be doing? Practicing every goddamn day. That's the answer.
More.
It's not some sort of magic pill. It's not some sort of if you read one section and this and this. Dude, I'd love to be able to outsource push-ups to the Philippines and I'd get ripped. That'd be dope, bro. I wouldn't have to work out. I wouldn't have to do all this shit. But that's not the way the world works. That's like asking yourself, hey, is there anything else I could do to like help this plant grow other than like water it and fucking give it sunlight? No. It's simple, but it's not to be confused with easy. So what's interesting is as we're having this conversation, I'm like, hey, bro, look, the group's available to you. Most people pay $1,000 for the year to be in that group. Roleplay partner 5 days a week. All you have to do is show up. All you have to do is show up. So may I make a suggestion? Show up.
And even like at the event that you were at, Jerry, whenever I would go to the event, my mission would be to walk away with new roleplay partners from the events, basically. I would literally go up to people and be like, hey, look, because let's say you want to roleplay fucking 4 times a day, you know? Like, I would literally like go to the event and be like, okay, like, I'm going to fill up my schedule and I'm going to go after people who I believe are doing more business than I did. So I would go up to people like Aaron, be like, can I get you on my schedule? I would go up to people like Neil Weichel. I would go up to people like Ed Kaminsky. I would go up to just different people that were doing a lot more business than I was. And then I'd role play with them. And then I would not miss ever, because I knew that as soon as I missed, it was an excuse for them to get me off their schedule.
Do you know that it took him like 9 months to get in my schedule, bro? He would ask me. I'd be like, nah, bro, check back. Nah, bro, I'm good. But I was really testing him, because out of 100 people that I would say check back with me, like fucking one would. But once he got in the schedule, he never missed, bro. Every day, always on time. So listen, guys, I'm noticing our time. This has been enjoyable use of my non-refundable precious breaths. I think it has been for Jose and John. Listen, there's no magic answer. Turn yourself into the person that can do hard things, and you're unstoppable. Let's go be great elite builders coast to coast.
There it is.